You're a business owner, healthcare provider, or financial manager struggling with unpaid invoices, late payments, and declining cash flow. Maybe you're experiencing constant delays in collections, disputes over invoices, and you just want to get paid faster without damaging customer relationships. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you the biggest signs that your AR process needs help and how to fix them, so you can experience the consistent cash flow, better financial stability, and fewer collection headaches, all without aggressive tactics or unnecessary stress. Welcome back to the Newell channel. We help businesses, individuals, and healthcare providers gain awareness, information, and tips on managing accounts receivable effectively. My name is Newell, and let's get started. So, one burning question: are your invoices consistently paid late? If so, ask yourself why. Is the methods in which you communicate with the consumer the way they want to be communicated with, seen in a timely manner? Or are they old school paper things people can ignore, dismiss, things like that? So one main problem I see with clients is sometimes they just don't know that payments are being late, people are paying slow, they figure out how to manipulate the system. So if you make a payment every 30 days, regardless of the size amount, it triggers parameters you have set to not send to collections. So it takes good monitoring to make sure that you're getting the appropriate amount of receivables in at the appropriate amount of time. As a first party collections or business, if you will, are you spending too much chasing payments? The answer is probably yes, because statistically speaking, 30 to 45% of accounts potentially are never going to be paid by the consumer to the first party. They just need a little extra nudge to get those accounts paid. One phrase I like to tell people is do what you do best and get paid for the rest. That simply means if your business is, let's say, manufacturing, making widgets, we all know your expertise and best time value is doing what you do and not chasing down people to pay you. So when you enlist a collection agency, they should be 100% performance based on the fees they charge you. And that means they don't get paid unless they perform. Simply put, if they don't collect, they don't eat. Do you have a high number of disputed invoices? If so, getting to the root of the problem can be very valuable. Is it that the end user, the consumer, the patient doesn't understand the billing? They think that something should be more descriptive or in terms they can understand. All those are things you can take a deep dive into. And some of the most important questions to ask is sometimes don't ask why people are not paying, ask why the people that are paying are paying. Take some of those tidbits from the people that are paying and implement that into the rest of your revenue cycle to get the most money collected the fastest you can. Also, sometimes on disputed invoices, if you're able to have communications with the consumer, find the root of the problem, and it might be a small, minuscule portion of the entire invoice that they're disputing, get the amount paid that they're not disputing, and then work on the rest. It might be something so minor that you might be able to write it off if they're willing to pay the remainder of the account, or get to the explanation so they do pay the entire invoice. Are you relying too much on credit to keep customers? I hear this a lot with clients, potential clients. They say, but they're a great customer. My reply is, not if they're not paying you, they're not. You're getting it for free. So identifying those problematic consumers, customers, having some frank, candid conversations with them about how the invoicing works and what the expectations are is extremely valuable and should be done up front. Psychologically, the longer a consumer is given to pay an account, they will traditionally extend that or never decrease that amount when the next invoice comes, because that's the norm you've set. That's the parameters that you've set. So be very careful in not to set those unnecessary, unexpected parameters or rules for your consumers. This is always a great question and a really good one for this time of year when you meet with your accountant and review your past year's successes or failures. Is your bad debt growing exponentially and you don't really know? Or you have an idea and you just choose to hope it'll take care of itself? I see those scenarios a lot where, let's face it, if you've got a healthy practice, healthy business, your gross receivables is going to be 85-90% of what you see, and the other percentage is going to be your bad debt or problematic stuff. And so it's very difficult to rationalize focusing on that 12 to 15% that's only that number of your gross revenue. So I will tell you though that if you do ignore that 12 to 15%, it is a perishable good. Collections is like a cabbage on a tanker ship. There is an expiration date. At some point in time, it will not be collectible. So the longer you neglect that, the less collectible it will be, and that money is gone forever. It's always good to have metrics in place measuring your receivables, your aged accounts, 30, 60, 90, 120 plus. Ideally, if they're not 90 plus, they should be at an external agency being collected, because again, the collectability drops significantly after the 90 to 120 day mark. Again, think of the perishable cabbage on the ship. So the quicker you can get to it, the better chances you have of collecting that. So when we talk about outsourcing those to agencies at that 90 plus, sometimes less, depending on your business, aged mark, it's very important to ask the agency some very important questions when it comes to your business ethics, practices, things like that. Because keep in mind, they are an extension of you, and sometimes the consumer only knows the representation of that agency as their experience with your business. So very key things, make sure you make that decision very carefully and check all the references they can give you. Then sometimes, just like an employee reference, diving deeper into one of those references to someone else they mentioned to get an accurate story. So speaking of the AR processes and improvements, we put together a complete guide of things to help you, best practices, if you will, for your group to go deeper into some of those topics that we touched on earlier. I've put the link in the description below, so make sure to check out the link. Which reminds me, be sure to watch the next video where I go deeper into how to streamline your accounts receivable process for better results. Click on the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.